What's up, y'all? Dean Thomas in the house. First off, let me say thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys listening to me. But I'm fresh back from Utica, New York, and I'm a little upset. I'm going to tell you why. Because what I saw in Utica, New York was absolutely despicable. And it comes at the hands of the New York State Athletic Commission. Now, I'm not, blaming the whole commission. I'm just saying it comes at the hands of the New York State Athletic Commission, and somebody should be held responsible for this. Now, you may or may not know, but I'm going to tell you now that I was out there with Jessica Aguilar. Now, Jessica Aguilar was pulled from the card because they said she had a potentially contagious infection. Let me explain what happened. So, the day of the weigh-in, she's doing her pre-weigh-in, pre-fight physical with the doctor. And yes, that is necessary. It's the duty of the commission to make sure fighters are safe and healthy. So they're doing their job. However, as we all know, when you're cutting weight, you're dehydrated. So your lips could be a little chapped. And yes, Jessica has some ashy lips, but she put chapstick on her lips. So the commission sees that and is like, hey, what is that? My lips are a little chapped. They got some chapstick on. Well, you need to get that checked out. You need to go to a dermatologist. UFC does a good job. They find a dermatologist, a licensed dermatologist. They find one. Right after she weighs in, they rush her off the scale, straight to the van, straight to the dermatologist. Dermatologist looks at her. There's nothing wrong with you. Here's a note. I saw the note with my own eyes. Nothing wrong with you. I saw the note. She got cleared to fight. Let's fast forward one day. She goes back the next day. Doctor checks him out. Doctor looks at her. Same exact doctor looks at her and says, you can't fight. Something wrong with your lip. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? I got checked out yesterday. Dermatologist said I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with my lips. They were just chapped and I got chapstick on. Nope, can't fight. Whatever is on your lips is contagious. What are you talking about? Nope, can't fight. It is repulsive and despicable. I mean, this girl spent, 8 weeks training for this fight, an enormous amount of money, in preparation with camps and flying people, sparring partners in. And yet they just rob her of her potential to make her living. It is repulsive, and somebody needs to be held accountable for this, because it's unfair that they did this to her without even wanting to listen to her. They were just like, nope, you can't do it. But wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with me. I got checked out by a doctor. Nope, can't fight. So New York Athletic Commission, I'm upset with you right now. That's not fair what you did to this young lady. It's not fair, and you need to be held accountable for that. Other than that, it was a great card. We saw some breakout performances. Jose Shorty Torres, we saw him come back from adversity and win a fight. Obviously, Jared Brooks, he knocked himself out, but we saw Shorty Torres come back from adversity, stay calm and get the W there. We saw Nathan Wood do the same exact thing, come back from adversity. He was losing to a true veteran. He came back from adversity and secured the choke on him. But I think the breakout performance that we saw, and it's not necessarily a breakout performance because we all know what Marlon Moraes is capable of, but his performance against Jimmy Rivera was absolutely fantastic. Now, when I did my pre-fight assessment of this, I knew that fight could go that way because those guys are so talented. I almost feel bad for Jimmy Rivera because it's not indicative of his skill. I mean, he's obviously better than getting knocked out in 33 seconds, and we would have liked to see a longer fight. But when you're dealing with that caliber of fighter with that type of dynamic finishing ability, that could happen. So it's almost a little sad for Jimmy that, with such build-up, and these two guys wanted to fight each other for so long, that he got knocked out in 30 seconds. But hey, that is MMA, and that's what makes MMA so beautiful. So congratulations to Marlon Moraes. I hope you get a title shot. You absolutely deserve it. The setup to that kick was beautiful. I had to rewatch it numerous times because the footwork prior to the kick was, I think, what set that up and what created the opening for him. But just congratulations, and I hope you get a title shot from that. So now the issue that everybody's talking about is this weight cutting thing. These early weigh-ins, later weigh-ins. now the UFC wants to move these weigh-ins back to where they were before because, you know, since they changed it the last 2 years, the percentage of fighters that have been missing has increased. But you know what? It has really nothing to do with the time. I mean, it does obviously because that's the numbers, but what we're talking about is this mentality and guys underestimating their cut and overestimating their ability to cut. You know what it comes down to is this. You know, everybody wants to have this size advantage. So they're waiting too long to make this cut. And then they're underestimating the fact that, like, you're going to be sleeping all night and then you only got a couple of hours in the morning to make that cut. So now you feel like you don't have enough time to cut. But look, let's stop trying to do a crash course in cutting weight. Let's stop trying to get that extra 5 pounds and be bigger. Just be a better fighter. Stop trying to crash course your weight cut. Normally, you guys in the UFC, you have 2 months to train for a fight. Focus on your weight cutting then. Focus on being in shape. Don't worry about these extra, trying to gain these extra 3 pounds. And that's the problem, is that, like, we get a couple fighters that miss the weight, and now we're having these knee-jerk reactions and going, oh, we need more weight classes. We don't need more weight classes for that reason, because all that's going to happen is that guys that feel like that they can gain an extra couple of pounds because it's a new weight class, it's still going to be the same problem. Guys need to just go like, guys need to think this. Fighters need to think this. Just be a better fighter. Stop trying to get these extra 3 pounds, extra 4 pounds. Because that extra 4 pounds is not necessarily helping you the next day, but it's hurting you in the weight cut. And if you can't make the weight, you just have to go up in weight and just go up in weight and be a better fighter, be faster, be more technical, be more skilled. But stop trying to be this extra big guy and then you can't make the weight. And then we think that you think you're gonna put the weight back, you're gonna be punishing all these other guys who can make the weight just because you have a few bad apples who refuse to wake up a little earlier in the morning and get the job done. Again, stop focusing on being 4 or 5 pounds heavier. Focus on being a better fighter. So now we have a new combat sport in town. Bare knuckle boxing. Live on pay-per-view. You know, I don't really know what to think about this. I mean, I guess it's pretty good because, I mean, it's entertaining and it will sort of, you know, quench that thirst for violence for you know, some bloodthirsty fans. I guess it's great for that. But let's not really confuse what's going on here. I mean, you know, I guess it's violent. I mean, but it's still, we're just trying to, the shock value of, you know, not putting gloves on these fighters and just saying, okay, we're just going to box. That's shock value. And, you know, I don't want to knock it because, I mean, it's given opportunities to, you know, some fighters who are no longer with the UFC or in a big organization. It's given them an opportunity to compete and to fight and to continue living out their dream of being a fighter. But I mean, it's not necessarily more dangerous than, even though it seems like it's not necessarily more dangerous than MMA. I mean, think about it. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have gloves on, you punching a guy with a bare knuckle, but I mean, MMA, you can still hit a dude or a female with an elbow right in the face. You can still knee him in the face. You still kick him in the face. That's still bone on bone. So it's not necessarily more dangerous in that sense, but I mean, there is some shock value to it that, you know, it's just no gloves and it's just only boxing. But let's really not confuse what this is. I mean, it's really kind of like the hot dog of combat sports. I mean, we're not necessarily talking about, you know, prime rib from Ruth Chris. We're talking about, you know, the scraps of what's left of some MMA fighters, and then you just repackage it, rebrand it, remarket it, boom, put it out there, and now we got a hot dog. But listen, hey man, listen, I'm not knocking it though. I love hot dogs. You know, 4th of July, put some ketchup on it. If you're from Chicago, put some mustard on it, man, you got a meal. So I'm not knocking bare knuckle boxing, but I'm just saying, you know, let's not make it anything more than what it really is. And that's just entertainment. So, you know, congratulations to the people who made it to bare knuckle boxing. And listen, I wish you all the luck and success and good health and fortune. So now I'm going to talk about a subject that I don't really like to talk about because it's sensitive. It's hard to talk about sometimes. People don't want to talk about this. And sometimes you kind of don't want to pull the curtain back on people because it is such a touchy subject and people are easily offended by it. But we got to talk about it because that's how we can't grow if we don't, discuss this and bring up this dialogue. And then I'm going to talk about a little race issue here because of this whole thing with Andrea Lee and her husband, who had the tattoo on his arm and said, you know what, I don't want to take it off. It's a reminder of my past. It lets me know who I am. And, I don't know the man. I don't know Andrea Lee. But I will say this. He's an easy target. He's an easy target for all of us. And especially, folks who may have some racist tendencies to look at him and then point a finger at him and go, look at you, you got a tattoo, you're a racist. Because as I was reading this, I was seeing a lot of people just, oh, he's a racist, she's a racist, he's a racist, and I'm looking and I'm going, but prior to this, did they display any racist tendencies for you to want to consider that? Probably not as blatant as a swastika on your arm, maybe not as blatant, but prior to that, you would look at him and go, he's all right. So my thing is this, but because he has that swastika and it's such a blatant and apparent symbol of racism, now everybody is just throwing mud on this man. And I get it, I do get it, but I'm also going to say some people need to look in the mirror. We are attacking this man for having this swastika and we're just automatically assuming that he obviously dislikes people of color, black people, Jewish people, whoever. But I ask you this. If you are so adamant about name calling and dogging this man, I want you to do this. I want you to scroll through your phone. See how diverse it is. How much diversity do you have in your phone? Look at the last couple of people you've been texting. How diverse is that? How diverse is your circle of friends and the people you hang with? If you ain't got no people of color in your circle, if you don't hang with people of color, you don't got some brothers in your circle, some Spanish dudes, then maybe you ain't that much different from him other than the fact that you might not have a swastika on your arm. But yet you name calling this man. Check yourselves, people. Check yourselves. Look in the mirror sometimes and stop pointing the finger because you might have some racist tendencies. Because I know a lot of people with some racist tendencies that don't wear a swastika, but they got racist tendencies and they be all up in my face, acting like it's all cool. So I'm just saying like this, before you start name calling and checking people, maybe you should check yourself. All right, y'all. It's a big weekend, fight weekend. We got UFC in Chicago. What number is this? I don't even know what number this is, but we got UFC in Chicago. First off, I want to talk about CM Punk. A lot of people, especially fighters, are always, dogging CM Punk and wondering why he's getting these opportunities. Listen, fighters, fans, listen, do not dog CM Punk. First off, if you met CM Punk, you would change your opinion of him. If you don't know him and you just met him, you would change your opinion and you'd wish him nothing but good luck. I mean, and I was the same way. Not that I ever wished him bad luck, but when I met him, I wanted to see him succeed. I wanted to see him fight and be successful because he's a good dude. He's a hard-working dude. Now, with that being said, that doesn't necessarily, give him entitlement to fighting in, the largest organization in the world. But understand this, guys. The UFC is also just a TV show, really. I mean, yes, it's an opportunity for fighters to fight, but it's a TV show. It's about viewership. That's it. It's about viewership. CM Punk is going to bring viewers to the UFC, and we should appreciate and embrace that. So all the fighters on the main card that are going to follow CM Punk, they're going to get all CM Punk's fans to watch you. You should embrace that. You should be thankful that a guy like CM Punk is going to bring his fans over from the WWE to the UFC. We should be thankful of that and not dog him because of this. Listen, CM Punk, good luck to you, man. I wish you nothing but good luck, and I hope you kick some butt this weekend. Next up, we got Colby Covington and RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. It's a good fight. You know, Colby said a lot of things. He's talked his way into this position kind of, and not only talked his way into this position, let's keep it real, other than the fact that he lost to Warlley Alves, I mean, he's won every other fight since then and prior to that. So he's earned the right to be in this position. Let's give him that much credit. He has earned this right to be in this position. Yes, he has talked. He has said a lot. But he's put himself in a position to fight for an interim title. Will he win? I don't know. That's why guys fight. I'm sure RDA has something to say about that. But I think this is an important fight for both guys. The winner will obviously, probably more than likely, fight Tyron Woodley. So, only time will tell who's going to win this fight. You know, I think a lot of questions will be answered, and they will expose themselves a lot in this fight because the stylistic matchup is so different. You know, Colby's is a great wrestler, and he finds ways to grind on guys and get them down and just make it miserable for them. But RDA is a true veteran. He's seen all that before. He's fought these guys before, and let's see if he's figured out how to beat it. I don't know. So that's why they fight. So I'm looking forward to that fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing the winner and the new interim champion. And lastly, in the main event, we have Robert Whittaker in the rematch against Yoel Romero. And what more can you say about that fight? It's a rematch. I mean, it's almost like going into round 6 because the first fight was so close. I felt like Yoel Romero could have easily had won that fight had he not slipped in that last round. So sometimes it's easier to fight a guy that you fought before because you know what they feel like. You know how strong they felt. And now you know what you need to do in order to make things different for you. So I think that fight's going to come down to who was able to look at that first fight and go, this is where I messed up. I should have done this differently. And this is how I can capitalize off of it. If I was Yoel Romero has a tendency to start late and sometimes often too late. He's going to have to get started a little earlier and put his hands on Robert Whittaker. I mean, what we saw him do to Luke Rockhold was just destruction. But he has that ability to do that to anybody. He's going to have to do that. He's going to have to put that type of violence towards Robert Whittaker if he wants to win this title, because we know that Robert Whittaker, he's younger, he's healthier, and I don't want to say healthier as if I know, but I'm just making that assumption. But he is younger. He is the champ. He does have that momentum. He does have that first win. So going with those things in his favor, if he just looks there and goes, I felt how strong Yoel Romero was. I know he likes to start slow. Maybe I'll put it on him early and hurt him early so that he can't come back. But then Yoel Romero, see, I mean, this is where the chess match of MMA really comes into play. So that's why fighting is always so difficult to choose a winner, especially for me, and I study these guys. But it's always so difficult to choose a winner sometimes because there's so many intangibles when it comes to a fight. And that's what makes it so intriguing sometimes, all the different intangibles. So I look forward to this card this weekend, UFC in Chicago. What is that, 225? Either way, UFC in Chicago. I look forward to it. So listen, I'm out of here, guys. I'm going to see you guys next week. I'll wrap up the card next week sometime and talk about something else interesting. If you want to hear something else, just shoot me an email, a Facebook message, an Instagram message. I'm all over the place under Dean Thomas. So find me, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.